What is up, guys, and welcome to the finale of Season 1 of F1 2019 Career Mode. I think since there's been a bit of news about the F1 game coming out today, I'll leave a link down in the description. There's some details about the 2019 performance update coming. Apparently it's like a week or two away. Codemasters did an article talking about it, and as well as like F2 cars and the whole, like, I'm not sponsored or anything, why would I be, but I figure that since you guys are huge fans of the F1 game, and obviously because you're watching this series, I'll leave it down in the description. But anyway, here we are. Final race of Season 1. You can see the development has come down to this. Williams literally one or two upgrades away from overtaking us in this season, which is absolutely crazy. Renault started off as, you know, best of the rest in terms of the midfield teams. Williams will last by a mile, and yeah, they caught us. That is absolutely crazy. And we're not even in Season 2 yet. Season 2 is where it's supposed to kick off massively for the AI's development, apparently. So we need to gear up and make sure we don't get left in the void of possibly being a backmarker team next season. So we do need to increase the development. But anyway, heading into this race weekend, we have a championship to decide. I believe the gap between Bottas and Leclerc is literally 6 points or less. So it's basically sudden death between those two guys for the race victory to see who can come out on top between them. For us, nothing really is at stake for us. I don't think we can lose the position we're in. So it's, yeah, kind of no man's land for us. So we'll be, hoping to build some momentum heading into Season 2, get some resource points, and just, try and establish some momentum and fight back now as we head into Season 2 with a good result to top off what has been a very fast, very productive season of Career Mode. It's all about to kick off here in Abu Dhabi, and as well, for one final twist, the weather has something to say.
Here we are at the beautiful Yas Island circuit, where qualifying is about to begin. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the action.
So this hasn't happened for the best part of 5 years on my channel. We have not seen rain in Abu Dhabi ever since F1 2014 Career Mode, Season 1 or 2, I can't remember. But yeah, it's mental. And it's not light rain either. Like last time we saw rain in Abu Dhabi, it was like literally spitting. And I don't think it was worth a switch to intermediate tyres. I can't remember. It was 5 years ago, so, you know, you can forgive me for not remembering. But here, this is proper rain, and it's probably set in for the majority of this Saturday evening running of qualifying here, because it's going to outlast all of the sessions. No matter how deep we get into qualifying, we will have changeable conditions. So this gives us a fantastic chance of getting pole position for the final race of this season. So hey, let's see what we can do. I've gone for a time trial setup. I've been loading time trial setups ever since like Monza or just after. So dedicated setups are now on the car and have been for a little while now. But yeah, I am targeting a dry setup because obviously pace is going to be good in the wet anyway. This is going to set us up for a nice grid position. But you know, Sunday is where it matters. It's going to be dry for the entirety of the race. So we need to, you know, be thinking about that. The qualifying one, I was doing a lot of running. I wanted to make sure that I was in the groove of this circuit, and also another reason why I was spending a lot of time doing laps is I didn't want the AI to simulate their times. Apparently there's a big deal about fast forwarding the qualifying session and the AI setting ridiculous times. Apparently that was a thing on F1 2018, but personally that never affected me. But here I feel like maybe it is. Maybe that's part of the reason why we're so crap in qualifying. We do that run, we get through, and we can continue on with our session. This is the end of Q2 now. I did a banker run on the old set of intermediate tyres from Q1, and now we are doing a run at the end of the session on a new set of tyres. Ricardo gets in the way on our flying lap right at the death of the session. He's come out of the pit lane, and he's literally not looked in his mirrors. Turned into the corner, backed out of it. Thankfully, opened the steering at the last second, but still, that was so distracting to deal with this. Here's the view from his car. I mean, like, that's so bad. That is horrible. Like, honestly, even anyone else, and they would be getting a grid penalty. Even if that did happen in real life. I feel like they should still get a grid penalty. That was atrocious. But anyway, we finished the lap and we go P1 despite getting blocked this corner last time around. We do another lap because the track evolution is the thing. Track will always get faster. We cross the line, we do a proper lap, and it's only P7 this time, but Ricciardo finds all of the pace and gets provisional pole for this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, 149.7. Remember that time because that's going to be the benchmark, I suppose, of what I need to aim for here in qualifying 3 if I want to have a chance at contending for pole position. So we could see a Renault 1-2 somehow on this grid. I really don't know where Ricciardo pulled that time out from. That was amazing. You know, Renault still isn't the best car. We're nowhere near that. You know, the other top teams have been out-developing us the last 5 races. So it comes a real shock to me to see that Ricciardo was right up there in Q2. Again, Danny Rick getting in the way this time, but not as bad. I kind of stuffed up that lap myself, to be honest, but it's fine. That was the used set from Q2. We've now got a brand new set ready to go on the car now for the end of qualifying 3, and this is where we earn the big bucks here in qualifying. This is what it's all going to come down to. We need to find a second to essentially match the time that Ricciardo did. So let's see what we can do. I'm cooling the engine, saving a bit of fuel, making sure I don't burn any battery, and I'm also wasting a bit of time here because I want to make sure that I'm the last person to cross the line. It'll take me 1:50 to set a lap time. We'll cross the line with about 20 seconds to go, leaving myself with a little bit of leeway in case I spin or have a mistake on this lap so I can regroup and go again. So here we go for 2 flying laps potentially of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in an effort to get pole position for the final race of the season. A bit wayward there through turn 3. So not a great run. Literally no gain on the Delta, which is a shame because, yeah, the first lap that we did actually isn't that great. We were doing low 50s in the run into this session. So yeah, we need to dip into the 49s at least to be in with the chance of getting pole. But so far it's looking like a good lap. You can see we're up by 3-4 tenths as we come into the 3rd sector. Very easy to lose the back end. A lot of these, you know, wet qualifying laps are not essentially about, you know, going all guns blazing. It's actually trying to hold back somewhat. It's a totally different driving experience. It's almost like setting a wet, it's almost like driving in the race because you're trying to look after your tires. You're trying to minimize the wheel spin, essentially using lower battery modes as well to minimize the wheel spin. You could probably run lower engine mix. I don't know which is actually more effective and which one is slower or better or faster. That will probably require some testing, but I currently am just playing around with the battery because, yeah, the battery does drain pretty quickly and we've got enough fuel to do multiple runs. But there we go, we dip into the 49s. It's a 49.8, 1 tenth shy of what Danny Rick did in Q2. We're going to go again for another lap. I think we might have pole position in the bag now. I don't think anyone is going to cross the line. Yeah, we've got pole, but we're just looking to improve on the time that we set previously in to further cement our position in this race through to the final corner. We're going to improve, but it's only going to be marginal as we cross the line. It's a 300th improvement.
Fantastic. You've got pole.
And it is pole position for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. What a way to finish out this season, starting on the front row of the grid. I think people might have grid penalties, but either way, what a stunning lap. Danny Rick, unfortunately, nowhere near his potential. Really fumbled the bag with that one. Maybe he had no tyres left. He only did 1 run as well.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. Are you happy with where you'll be on the grid tomorrow?
I mean, if you're not happy with pole position, then, to be honest, what are you doing in Formula 1 anymore?
How does the poor weather change your strategy going into the race?
It opens it up for everyone. We get to start on whatever tyre we want. So flexibility-wise, we can literally do anything, which I'm looking forward to.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Welcome to the Yas Island circuit for the finale of another thrilling Formula One season. It's been a breathtaking year, and we end it at a track that's been the scene of many glories and heartbreaks over its short history. It's time to end the season in style. It's time for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Anthony Davidson, thanks for joining me once again for the Grand Prix. Can we begin by having a chat about Charles Leclerc? That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Day lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Vettel, Verstappen, Kimi Raikkonen and Perez. Hamilton, they've taken a grid penalty. Russell, Kubica and Antonio Giovinazzi. Leclerc, Albon, Pierre Gasly and Kvyat. Faber, Stroll, Daniel Ricciardo and Carlos Sainz. Butler and Lando Norris starts from the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Wow, that is an interesting looking grid for this final race. Championship leader, Charles Leclerc, starting down the order with a grid penalty. Bottas is nearer to the front. From what I remember, I can't remember anymore. I think he's like literally right behind me. So, massive advantage in Bottas's court. That in itself could already decide the difference between who wins this championship. I mean, starting the back end of the grid, that is not going to help Charles' chances. But it's a long race. There's a lot of strategy at play for both myself and the AI. I'm having a look around it. You know what I can do? I'm like flicking between the projected tire wear strategy, which is based on my driving in practice. You know, to be honest, I never really touch that because I never truly drive how I would in the race in practice. It's always about, I don't know, it's different in a way. So I tend not to use that as a reference. I tend to go off of what the simulation data is in the way of like regular tire wear. I feel like that kind of works better for me. Other people might find that it works better for them, but I just like to stick with what the game says, essentially. Sometimes it screws me up, but other times it's not too bad. But anyway, Ricciardo is not moving off of the grid. Not only was this a weird race weekend because of the rain, but now we see a car out of the Grand Prix on the formation lap. I have never seen this from the Codemasters games. Of course, this was a thing in the F1 2006 game, or at least you can actually retire while on the starting grid. I saw that a couple of times before. Fernando Alonso did that in a Renault, no less. So, yeah, some interesting connections being made here. But I don't know if Ricciardo was disqualified from the formation lap, whether he's touched someone. He literally hasn't moved off his grid slot. I thought it was that, but it looks like he's not even moved. So I don't know if it's a reliability thing. Will Daniel Ricciardo leave the grid to start this race? That is the question that I have at the moment, but I can't really get too focused on that because I'm starting from pole position. I have my own race to run. 5 red lights, and away we go for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. I always feel like you have to wait an absolute age for anything to happen, but here we go. Turn 1, Vettel is gone around the outside. Hasn't worked out, and for the first time all season, we maintain our grid position, which is absolutely fantastic. Checking on Ricciardo. I cannot see a yellow dot in the train of cars that are on this. No, he's at the back. Okay, we're fine. So Ricciardo is in the race. He must have touched someone or looked at a steward the wrong way on the starting grid to get disqualified from the formation lap, because that was odd. It said he was out of the session, not that he got removed from the formation lap. I don't know, it's weird. But anyway, we can see Bottas. Where's Bottas come from? Did I squeeze out Vettel and Bottas got through for P2? I don't know, but now he is leading this race. Bottas, as things stand at the moment, will win the driver's title based on being ahead of Charles Leclerc, who is at the moment not even in the points. So Vettel and Ferrari need to get in the game here. They need to overtake me. They need to get in front of Bottas, hold him up and play some games here in order to get his teammate back in the game here, because again, it is looking like Mercedes will steal another title if things stay as they are. Here comes Vettel. Not start finish straight, the back straight, sorry. And he soars through for P2. I think this was only inevitable. I don't have the pace of the top teams, not in the dry at least. So unfortunately, we will be going backwards somewhat, but it will be, I guess, our driving that determines how quickly we go back down the order again. Not a great exit as we come onto this second back straight. It gave Hamilton the just extra momentum to get past me. So we now fall off the podium on lap 3 of this race, but now I'm hoping to stay with these guys or at least maintain this position. I want to see if I can pull away from Raikkonen. We do have a better car than Haas, but not by much. So it'll be a tough old race, I would say, in trying to fend him off. He's on medium tyres. Interestingly, Hamilton here on softs, so he'll be making an early first stop, getting the undercut, and that might put him in the game somewhat up against his teammate if he's going to have an undercut. But he might have even more cars to deal with, given that they're all on mediums and we're all going to stay out quite late. So it will be interesting to see if this strategy play works out for Lewis. I don't see it happening though, with how many people are on mediums in this race, but we'll see. Could be safety cars, there could be lots of things going on. Speaking of safety cars, I checked heading into this race and I found out that safety car has been on this whole season. No safety car in 21 races of Grand Prix competition. And that is got to be a record. It's got to be. And meanwhile, Raikkonen holding the record for being the oldest driver on the grid to mug me off. He's through for P4 in this race. Verstappen gets his way into the fight as well. I'm sorry if I sounded deflated there. I was a bit disappointed, but the fact that we're falling back behind Raikkonen and Verstappen as well. But hopefully now we can stay with this guy, Verstappen, on the soft side. Imagine he'll be stopping very early and we might have a pace advantage on him at the moment. But you can see Verstappen and Raikkonen are kind of working together here. They're using each other as a little slipstream train to, you know, it's almost like a game of leapfrog essentially. They're using each other to get the extra top speed, and you know, if they can duke it out on the straights as opposed to the corners, they can be a lot faster than someone who's running around alone in clear air, that's for sure. But they don't seem to be playing ball at the moment. Verstappen wants the position. He doesn't have the straight line speed to maintain the position, and he often gets re-overtaken by Raikkonen. But now that saga is over. Soft compound tyre runners are in, including Lewis Hamilton and Verstappen. We fast forward a couple of laps now, and the medium tyre runners are now in. I was actually scheduled to come in on this lap, but I've decided to stay out the extra lap. Just have a think about my strategy, because I was tempted, in all honesty, I was tempted to stretch out these mediums for another 7 or 8 laps and then pit for softs to go to the end of the race. But I was playing around with the strategy and it was 8 seconds slower. But I don't know, I was looking at the tyre wear and I was like, oh, I think we could do this. But after the events that happened in Brazil, haven't seen that episode, what are you doing? Go check it out now. Because of the events that happened in the last race, I can't repeat the embarrassment of what happened there. So we will be playing it safe. We'll be going on to mediums now again, and then finishing the race on softs. But anyway, we rejoin the circuit. We rejoin in pretty good track position, to be honest. We've got Hamilton, a couple cars up the road. Verstappen is there too. Perez up next. Someone is going slowly through the first sector, as you can see by the yellow flag, as we will cut back to the action with Perez in a moment. We have Antonio Giovinazzi, who is out of this race, the Alpha, coughing up a lot of smoke. And will this be the final safety car, or the first safety car of the season? No, it won't. Of course it won't be. We're going to have to wait 10 seasons to get a career mode, 10 seasons to get a safety car at this rate. But there we go, we passed Sergio, we're into P5, and now we are, again, best of the rest. Don't know what happened to the Haas. They got absolutely left behind in the whole pit stop phase. You can see they're actually, I think, in the massive train there on the mini-map just, 5 seconds back. So, yeah, it's getting pretty congested back there, and, yeah, they're only going to hold each other up and fall further and further back, giving me a lot more freedom to do whatever the hell I want. So I'm gonna try and push on. I'm trying to match it with Max's pace. He's currently on a set of soft compound tires. He's now into the pit lane for the final stop of the race. Hamilton in as well in the medium tires. So they are going for the undercut on us. That will work to some degree. We will have the softer compound to switch onto at the end of this race, but it'll be down to us to chase them down. Team radio.
Leclerc is behind you. The gap to the car behind is 2.5 seconds. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 8 laps old. We think they've got one more stop.
But yeah, 20 laps into this Grand Prix, and finally Charles Leclerc is in a somewhat respectable position in the Ferrari. Bottas and Vettel now make their stops. I'm assuming that Leclerc is on the same strategy as what I am. I'm leaving it quite late actually to switch onto my softs. Like I said, I stretched out my medium stint by 1 or 2 laps in the first stint. Again, I'm matching the same tempo or the same length stint so that I can minimize the time spent on these softs, and meaning that I have, you know, a lighter car, fresher tires at the end of the race, and gives me a better chance of getting fastest lap if I can, so that I can either beat Daniel Ricciardo in the rivalry, but 2, also potentially get fastest lap in the race and get an extra point. That would be nice. But let's see what we can do. Charles Leclerc is literally right up our chuff, so it is time to absolutely gun it and see what kind of time we can pull out of the bag. Here we go through the first chicane, really attacking this. It's 8.5 seconds to Verstappen ahead, so I need to be more than a second a lap faster than him in order to catch up, so that will be quite the interesting feat. A bit of a corner cut through the triple chicane in the middle sector. But this is going to be a pretty good lap. We're lighting up the sector times with personal bests. Unfortunately, no purples, but who knows? Sector 3 is where most of the time can be found. We're attacking all of these curbs here. There's a lot of time to be found through bravery around this circuit. We are risking the corner cutting warnings in order to get the lap time up. Nice rotation through the final corner. A bit too much rotation on the exit, and unfortunately that lap was disallowed because of the warning. It was a 37.0, 1.7 seconds faster than our previous best. Leclerc gets us on the next lap, and I guess now we'll try and follow him through and replicate the lap we just did, but it's going to be hard. The tyres are going to be more worn than what they were last lap, but we shall see as we cross the line. Leclerc does the best lap of the race, and we are, what, 38.0. So that was, wow, that was a second slower than our previous best. That was disallowed. That is disgusting. Okay, so we're not getting fastest lap this race, but the lap I was going to get in was only 0.2 shy of the lap that Charles just did, so not too bad. Not too bad, considering I did my lap in clear air. Leclerc had the help of my slipstream and my DRS, so not bad. But anyway, we're getting to the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. I've had a relatively uneventful Grand Prix, in all honesty. I kind of like it because of the craziness of the previous races we've had. Brazil, Japan, Mexico, all of them have just been absolutely ridiculous for vastly different reasons. But here today, I've got to say, the race has been relatively boring, and I like that. We've had a relatively straightforward Grand Prix. Bottas absolutely ruins the hopes and dreams of all Ferrari fans around the world, as Charles Leclerc falls short of this one. Mercedes still another title from Ferrari. For us, it's going to be a pretty solid P6 and some really good pace shown.
We've had a very strong season this year, very strong indeed. Well done, and thank you on behalf of the team for a fantastic effort.
It's certainly been an incredible year for Formula One, and our drivers have all pushed themselves this season, making it one of the most compelling years of racing in history. There can only be one champion, however, and here they are now, our new Formula One World Drivers' Champion.
I didn't think this was going to be a thing at the start of this career mode season. I mean, Bottas was in the hunt all season, of course, but I thought it was going to come down to either Hamilton or Leclerc, but it's Bottas, the flying Finn, who comes out on top. Hamilton would be absolutely ruining the failure that he had a couple of races ago, keeping him out of the championship fight in the finale. Leclerc, again, reliability that really cost him today. Starting way back in the pack, was never really in the fight, so it would have been really interesting to see a Leclerc v Bottas battle right throughout the Grand Prix. Leclerc proved that he had the pace with the fastest lap, so a shame, but that's what Season 2 is all about, and hopefully we are one of the ones in the mix come this time next season. But here's a quick little highlight snippet of the race. Of course, getting pole position after qualifying, that was an amazing effort. I put so much work in qualifying to make sure I got it all right. Effectively spent nearly as much time in the qualifying sequence of recording this video as what I did actually doing the race. It was quite mental in that aspect. But we settled in quite nicely. We got overtaken by the top teams very, very early on. And then from there, it was just consistent running, trying to, run my own race, manage the battery, manage the tires. Managing all those things, especially the tires, wasn't too bad, to be honest. They all held out quite well, so that was nice. And then, yeah, we followed Leclerc home for a P6, managing to keep him within 1 second for the rest of the race, which I felt like was probably the feat of the weekend, keeping a Ferrari right there in the mix with our battle. But there we go. It is time to do a bit of housekeeping now. We need to settle our contract. Heading into Season 2, we're going to spend some resource points and direct the development heading into Season 2. I think it's pretty obvious what we're going to do team-wise. It's just a case of nailing down those finer details and, praying that we still have Ricardo as our teammate. So let's find out.
Nice job this season. You've been performing well, and that's putting us in a strong negotiating position contract-wise. Plus, my 10%'s getting more valuable. So enjoy your break, and keep up the good work next year.
At least we haven't been fired. You never know with this game. Sometimes you can absolutely get shafted. But good to see that we are a valued member of the team, and now it is time to sort the contract. So I'm going to push for some race bonus. I'm going to be quite aggressive with this. So we have 3 attempts at the contract to settle the terms that we want. We're going to push for extra race bonus. Of course, upgrade speed, meaning we can reduce all upgrades by 1 week. Don't really care about pit stop efficiency. We need to be in a position where we can constantly upgrade the car next season, because the AI are also going to step it up massively.
Our proposal has been accepted. The new contract will take effect from the next race weekend.
And Renault seems pretty lenient with us. I had a lot of headroom for where my value was and what I could have pushed for. I maybe could have gone for level 3 on either race bonus or simultaneous development. I also didn't push the race goal or qualifying goal that hard either, but they still accepted on the first attempt. So I feel like I didn't get the most out of my contract, it seems. So, I mean, Emma, you are my agent. You could have helped me there. You could have recognized that I could have pushed for better terms. But no, you set the market low, and yep, we've undersold ourselves. But anyway, let's focus on development now, because this is a very important aspect of the career mode. This happens all the time behind the scenes, and now we need to shape the development path. I would like to invest in the powertrain, but I'm a little bit worried because of the regulation change. Any upgrade I do now, I'm worried that it's going to delete it heading into Season 2. Because you can't adapt it. You can't adapt it until the part actually goes on the car. So I don't know if there's a technicality there, whether if I put an upgrade on there now, will that stuff everything up? I don't know. So I decided to not touch it. We went for a major weight reduction upgrade. Again, we're looking at powertrain upgrades. If you guys have been in this scenario before, can you let me know, like, what happens? If I was to upgrade, would I still keep these upgrades for Season 2, even though I can't adapt them because they're still in progress? I don't know. But we're also going to go for another major upgrade. We still have 1,700 resource points. We're going to go for major drag reduction. We can focus on the minor upgrades in season. That really doesn't matter. What you want to do in between seasons is focus on the big upgrades. Try and get the big development stuff going, because you essentially get these straight away at Melbourne, and I think there's absolutely no failure rate, so it's best to knock these ones out and do it now, as opposed to doing it in the middle of the season where you have to wait 3, 6, however many weeks. It's ridiculous. So I went for that. 2 major upgrades and 1 minor one. I can't remember what the minor one was. I'm gonna have to rewind. It is weight redistribution. It was the one where we failed with it a couple of weeks ago. So now we're going and putting it on the car, and hopefully that should make a bit of a difference in the balance of the car, and hopefully can mean I can push a little bit harder into corners. But that has been Season 1 of F1 2019 Career Mode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Honestly, the support on this series has been second to none. It's been outstanding. I've been, you know, thoroughly enjoying doing the daily content, seeing all your comments and reaction to each of the races. We've had some absolute bangers the last 4 races or so. I think ever since Monza, Singapore, the races have just been mad. Abu Dhabi was a bit of a reality check, but I feel like we were needing a simple Grand Prix, so I was appreciating that. But heading into Season 2, the gloves are off, certainly with the AI in terms of their development, so I'm really looking forward to the development race that will take place, and hopefully you guys can join me for the journey. We will stick with Renault, of course, and hopefully we can deliver a title or 2. Until then, thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.